Hello students, and welcome to the lecture on Foundation of Services Marketing. After this lecture, we will be able to learn the following objectives. Explain the concept of service industry. Understand the importance of services and distinctive characteristics of services marketing. Define service marketing micro as well as macro. Describe reasons for growth of the service sector. Understand the cultural shift of the Asian countries. Let's start with the introduction of bilateral and multilateral trade laws. Services marketing is a form of marketing that focuses on selling services. They can be tricky to sell, and the marketing approach for them is much different than the approach for products. Some companies offer both products and services and must use a mixture of styles. For example, a store that sells computers also tends to help people select computers and provide computer repair. Such a store must market both its products and the supporting services it offers to appeal to customers. Service marketing is not a self-enclosed task, but is integral to service organizations as a whole, and the object of the activity is people, who are reactive, not passive as compared with a product. Services marketing concepts, frameworks, and strategies were developed as the result of interlinking the forces of many industries, organizations, and individuals who have realized the increasingly important role that services are playing in the current world economy. Initially, the development of services marketing focused on service industries. Let's now discuss the service industry. A service industry is an industry made up of companies that primarily earn revenue through providing intangible products and services. Service industry companies are involved in retail, transport, distribution, food services, as well as other service-dominated businesses. It's also called service sector or tertiary sector of industry. As consumers, one uses services every day, turning on a light, watching TV, talking on the telephone, riding a bus, visiting the dentist, mailing a letter, getting a haircut, refueling a car, writing a check, or sending clothes to the cleaners are all examples of service consumption at the individual level. As a nation transitions to a developed economy, service industry takes utmost priority and maximum share of the GDP. Economists term it as the tertiary sector of the economy. Nature of services. Whichever means of classifying services is used, and whether or not there is agreement that the unique characteristics of services really represent unique distinctions, ultimately both physical goods and services provide benefits and satisfactions. Both goods and services are products or offerings. Characteristics of services. Service is an act or performance offered by one party to another. They are economic activities that create value and provide benefits for customers at specific times and places as a result of bringing about a desired change in or on behalf of the recipient of the service. The distinct characteristics of services are ownership. In the sale of goods after the completion of process, the goods are transferred in the name of the buyer and he becomes the owner of the goods. Simultaneity. Services cannot move through channels of distribution and cannot be delivered to the potential customers and user. Quality measurement. A service sector requires another tool for measurement. One can measure it in terms of service level. Classification of services. The service sector can best be characterized by its diversity. Service organizations range in size from huge international corporations in such fields as airlines, banking, insurance, telecommunication, hotel chains, and freight transportation, to a vast array of locally owned and operated small businesses, including restaurants, laundries, taxis, and numerous business-to-business services. Did you know services marketing first came into force in the 1980s, when there was debate of whether the marketing of services was significantly different from that of products, and whether it should be classified as a separate discipline? Now we will study the importance of services and distinctive characteristics of services marketing. It is important to learn about services marketing, service quality, and service management. What are the differences in services versus manufactured goods marketing that have led to the demand for books and courses on services? Many forces have led to the growth of services marketing, and many industries, companies, and individuals have defined the scope of the concepts, frameworks, and strategies that define the field. Service is a business imperative in manufacturing and IT. Early in the development of the field of services marketing and management, most of the impetus came from service industries such as banking, transportation, and healthcare. As these traditional service industries evolved and became more competitive, the need for effective services management and marketing strategies continues. The growth in services. The service industry is rapidly growing, with companies recognizing the benefits of outsourcing activities that are not part of their core business. The Bureau of Labor Statistics indicate that U.S. employment in professional and technical services increased by 245,000 between March 2010 and June 2011. Companies are also recognizing how professional services, such as consultancy, training, or marketing, can help them improve their business performance. Restructuring would slow growth. In the long run, the global restructuring scenario has both positives and negatives. The positives, of course, are that it does not require long-term unsustainable borrowing by the U.S., and it encourages the return of manufacturing jobs to the country. A negative is that living standards will be depressed in the U.S. for a long time. And even if domestic manufacturing can be rebuilt, products will be more expensive. Distinctive characteristics of services. The 4 I's of services. There are 4 characteristics that separate services marketing from product marketing. They include intangibility, inconsistency, inseparability, and inventory. Intangibility. Services are intangible. One cannot touch them. They are not physical objects. A consumer feels that he has the right and opportunity to see, touch, hear, smell, or taste the goods before they buy them. This is not applicable to services. Inconsistency. What this characteristic means is that everyone is different. While one may get the same product every time one buys it, chances are that it tastes the same, looks the same, or feels the same. It's not quite the same with services. Every employee is not the same as the next person. And even though one may get the same great person all the time, there is a 1% chance that they may not be great. Inseparability. Services are generally created or supplied simultaneously. They are inseparable. For example, the entertainment industry, health experts, and other professionals create and offer their service at the same given time. Inventory. This characteristic explains the last difference between products and services, that services cannot be stored. Unlike warehouses full of products, service providers cannot store services for future uses. Let's now learn about service marketing micro as well as macro. Service marketing is the promotion of economic activities offered by a business to its clients. Service marketing might include the process of selling telecommunications, health treatment, financial, hospitality, car rental, air travel, and professional services. Simply put, marketing is creating something of value and finding the best way to sell it to specific customers at a considerable profit. It also involves the use of various strategies and tools to achieve this goal. Various factors like market research, branding, sales promotion, advertising, pricing strategies, consumer behavior, etc., also form important aspects of marketing. Micro-marketing. Micro-marketing is a type of marketing strategy that has to do with targeting specific customers within a niche market. The approach will often use many of the strategies that are employed in target marketing. In general, in that the marketer will take into account specific attributes that set the targeted customer apart from other types of clients. Macro environment. A macro environment comprises the external factors that can influence a business. These factors are often out of the control or management ability of a company. On the demand side, the high growth of services output was mostly attributed to factors such as increasing input usage of services by other sectors, mainly manufacturing sectors. For example, a higher domestic demand, higher foreign demand due to trade liberalization, and high income elasticity for services. On the supply side, the increased trade in services following trade liberalization policies and other reforms in the 1990s induced this growth. Both demand and supply factors have led to this growth. There are many reasons for growth of service sectors: economic affluence, changing role of women, cultural changes, and IT revolution. Economical affluence. Concern over the slowdown of economic growth spans the ideological spectrum, even when it's not accompanied by worry over rising inequality. Export potential of Asian countries. In Cambodia, where apparel accounts for almost half of the country's total exports, it only accounts for 21% of the country's exports to developing Asia. The cotton sector occupies a reasonable share in Afghanistan's exports. In addition, metals appears as a growing sector in which a number of LDCs are active. And finally, fruits, vegetables, and nuts exports are significant for some Asian LDCs, in particular for Afghanistan, Myanmar, Cambodia, and Nepal. However, over the period from 2001 to 2012, the export performance of these countries to developing Asia has been rather heterogeneous. Cultural shift in the Asian countries. The demand for services is on the rise with increases in income, as people are becoming less concerned about material needs. In the consumer sector, this leads to increasing demand for services such as health, education, and entertainment. In business, companies recognize that many activities can be handled more efficiently by a service provider. Outsourcing services allows a business to concentrate on the activities that are critical to its success. Several Asian countries, including Japan, China, and Vietnam, have absorbed Korean popular culture, and several Korean cultural games, including television programs and films, have become major cultural activities in these countries. Korea has recently started to penetrate European and North American countries with popular music, K-pop, and online gaming. The Korean wave has been unique because it indicates the unusual growth of local creative industries in the midst of neoliberal globalization. Once peripheral and small, the Korean creative industries have unexpectedly developed their own local cultural products and services, and Korea's creative industries have been among the most successful contributors to the national economy. The Korean wave has especially experienced a significant change with the development of digital technologies and social media, such as YouTube, social network sites, and smartphones in the 21st century. These digital technologies, as new driving engines of the Korean wave, have initiated and supported the popularity of local culture in many countries. Unlike Hallyu 1.0, emphasizing the export of local cultural goods to East Asia between the late 1990s and 2007, the growth of social media has uniquely influenced Korean creative industries. In fact, online gaming and K-pop have become the two most significant cultural genres in the Korean creative industries and have initiated the growth of Hallyu 2.0 since late 2007, because K-pop fans and online game users heavily access these social media to enjoy local popular culture. Growth of IT information technology. A knowledge-based industry has the tremendous potential of becoming an engine of accelerated economic growth, productivity, improvement for all sectors of the economy, and means of efficient governance. It enhances access to information, protects consumers, provides access to government services, makes skill formation and training more effective, improves delivery health services, and promotes transparency. Many participants in the IT industry are independent small businesses that provide a variety of functions for customers they serve. A sizable portion of anticipated workforce growth will emanate from startup and small and medium-sized information technology firms. The SMB sector of the IT industry accounts for about 40% of industry jobs, or more than 2 million workers, and 163,000 employer businesses that maintain a payroll. Moreover, there are an estimated 400,000 self-employed IT industry workers that are not classified as business establishments by the U.S. Census Bureau Economic Census, but nonetheless provides meaningful employment and services throughout the country. The strength of the IT sector largely rests in its ability to remain innovative and globally competitive with a $3.2 trillion global industry, while constantly evolving to meet current challenges and opportunities. However, the economic downturn and resulting impact on small businesses has added significant pressures to the sector at large. As policymakers debate initiatives to help stimulate growth, support of the IT industry needs to be a primary focus given its unique capability to generate growth and sustainable employment. While small and medium-sized IT companies share many of the policy priorities of small and medium-sized businesses from other industries, there are a number of specific priorities within the IT industry that result from their distinct workforce needs and industry structure. Cost-effectiveness and other factors. Cost-effectiveness analysis compares the costs and health effects of an intervention to assess the extent to which it can be regarded as providing value for money. This informs decision makers who have to determine where to allocate limited healthcare resources. It is necessary to distinguish between independent interventions and mutually exclusive interventions. For independent interventions, average cost-effectiveness ratios suffice, but for mutually exclusive interventions, it is essential to use incremental, cost-effective ratios if the objective to maximize healthcare effects, given the resources available, is to be achieved. Cost-effectiveness ratios should be related to the size of relevant budgets to determine the most cost-effective strategies. Cost-utility analysis is the approach required by the National Institute for Health and Clinical Excellence and other assessment agencies, for example, the Scottish Medicines Consortium and the All Wales Medicine Strategy Group, to determine the relative cost-effectiveness of therapeutic interventions. All cost-effectiveness analysis should be subjected to sensitivity analysis, which should be included as part of the reportings of the findings. Cost-effectiveness is only one of a number of criteria that should be employed in determining whether interventions are made available. Issues of equity, needs, and priorities, for example, should also form part of the decision-making process. Change. Outsourcing services is also important if a business is undergoing change. The rapidly changing market conditions put companies under pressure to reduce costs and adapt quickly. Outsourcing can go beyond cost savings. It can improve cash flow and accelerate growth. Strategic. Services can help a business improve efficiency and achieve its strategic business objectives. For example, consultancy services can help a company focus on critical areas for growth. Training services, for example, help companies develop their workforce skills as a competitive advantage. Project. Another factor in the growth of the service sector is the continuing complexity of business, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Firms that offer advisory services are helping small businesses to deal with legislative changes, emerging technologies, and marketing challenges by giving them access to skills and knowledge that they don't have in-house. Marketing. The service sector is benefiting from improved marketing as service firms communicate their message more efficiently. Building understanding of the benefits of professional services is critical to the growth of the sector. The service firms can improve their performance by positioning themselves effectively and explaining their service benefits to customers. Now in the end, let's summarize what we have learned in this lecture. Services marketing is a form of marketing that focuses on selling services. They can be tricky to sell, and the marketing approach for them is much different than the approach for products. Service industry companies are involved in retail, transport, distribution, food services, as well as other service-dominated businesses. It's also called service sector or tertiary sector of industry. Service is an act or performance offered by one party to another. They are economic activities that create value and provide benefits for customers at specific times and places as a result of bringing about a desired change in or on behalf of the recipient of the service. Services are intangible. One cannot touch them. They are not physical objects. A consumer feels that he has the right and opportunity to see, touch, hear, smell, or taste the goods before they buy them. This is not applicable to services. Micro-marketing is a type of marketing strategy that has to do with targeting specific customers within a niche market.